Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 20th, 2022, 10 a.m., and I'd call to order the Ottawa City Commission meeting. Can I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Crowley,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore,
Present.
Commissioner Graves,
Present.
Commissioner Kaler is absent, Commissioner Clayton.
Present.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting this morning, whether you're here in person or you're listening or watching on some form of media. We'll start today with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our invocation by Pastor Yancey from Hope Anthem Church.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to take 30 minutes of your time. Just kidding. I want to just read a thought, and then I'm going to pray over us. Whatever consumes my life will control my mind. One more time. Whatever consumes my life will control my mind. Heavenly Father, you know there's all kinds of things that are consuming our hearts, consuming our lives. The urgent becomes priority over the planned important things. And so I pray over our hearts and our minds today that you would bring wisdom, you would bring discernment, that you would bring understanding. I pray blessing over every person in this room or anybody who is joining us online. I pray that our minds would think clearly, that our hearts would feel in a healthy manner, and that our relationships would grow stronger. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. That'll move us on to our consent agenda, which is a little lengthy. I'll read it all out, though. That'll be our April 4th study session minutes, April 6th, the regular meeting minutes, our April 11th study session minutes. We have some city board reappointments. These are for the additional terms, folks that are already there that just want to continue on. 4th Judicial Correction Advisory Board, Crystal Anderson to April 30th, 2024. The Accessibility Advisory Board, John Fritz and Kyle Trindle to April 30th of 2025. The Airport Advisory Board, Andrew Hum and Chris Marshall to April 30th of 2025. The Band Board, Merle Morty, Mark Parquette, Tom Shrimplin, and David White to April 30th of 2025. Board of Zoning Appeals, Gary Harris and Justin Paddock to April 30th of 2025. The Library Board of Sharon Geis to April 30th of 2026. The Ottawa Memorial Auditorium Advisory Board, Amy Carlson and Sarah Stoffer to April 30th of 2025. And the Planning Commission, Brian Kane and Rudy Maines to April 30th of 2025. And then item 8 will be city board appointments. The Accessibility Advisory Board, Ashley Gillespie to April 30th of 2025. And the Library Board, Lindsay Humphrey, April 30th of 2026. Do I have a motion for approval?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second. This may take 2 seconds with so many things on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got
All right. Zach, second. Motion is second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is approved. That'll move us on to our public comments. Do we have any scheduled today?
None today.
Thank you. I'll dispense with that paragraph. Move us on to item 11, which is our declaration. At this time, I'd like to give the commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication they've had that might influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially.
Nope.
Thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Item 12.
2021 Kansas Water Environment Association Collection System Award.
To recognize the city's Water Distribution and Sewer Collection Division for receiving the 2021 Kansas Water Environment Association Collection System Award, and I believe Dan Riney will be here. Good morning, Dan.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Good to be in front of you today with good news. The Collection System Award is granted based on the size of our operation and for we compete against all the other communities our side for that recognition, and I'm really proud to say that our wastewater collection crew achieved that and received the award for 2021. They also may or may not be aware of this, they received this award in 2018 as well. So, you know, it's good indication of the work these guys do. You know, probably as much as anyone else, any of our other crews, they're the silent guys, but they're the guys that are out in the middle of the night when it's freezing cold, fixing water lines and doing the kinds of things that we don't like to think about, but that we have to do to keep things moving. So anyway, I can get, they're all here.
They all of them? Nobody's
Yeah.
working?
No, there's,
Oh, no.
there's most of them
All
are.
right. Good.
Get a picture.
Come on up, guys. We're gonna get a picture of everybody with the award. Anybody, any of you guys want to say anything? Now's the time. All right.
Behind the scenes.
You might wanna
behind the
reconsider
scenes,
that.
guys, remember? Right.
Where do you want to?
We're gonna do a picture at.
Yeah,
You
behind
guys
us.
want to come on up here and we'll just, we'll get a picture all together up here.
Scoot in. Do you need to scoot in? Come on in. Get in here.
You're in there, bud.
Congratulations, guys. Good job. Appreciate it.
That's a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Congratulations, guys, and great
Yeah.
job as always. That'll move us on to item 13.
Resolution terminating the redevelopment agreement for the Coves at Tallgrass Project.
This resolution terminates the redevelopment agreement with Merzine, the Overlook LLC, and I believe Tyler Ellsworth from Kutak Rock will be discussing that with us. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. Tyler Ellsworth with Kutak Rock. We have discussed this item at a few previous study sessions. At a commission meeting this last month, but just by way of a brief background, the city entered a redevelopment agreement in 2008 in connection with the residential development at the Coves at Tallgrass. And as everybody is aware, that residential development did not proceed as planned, but the redevelopment agreement was never formally terminated. So the resolution that you all are being asked to consider this morning simply gives us authorization to formally terminate that agreement and also to release it of record to clean up the title to the Coves properties just slightly. And that's really all we're asking here. I'm happy to provide additional background on that, but that's probably a good place to stop and just see if there are any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Tyler?
I understand why we're doing this, Tyler, and I think this, just to eliminate any more possible clouding of the title, this is a good thing just to get rid of and remove. So I will make the motion, we approve item number 13 on our agenda.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore is Commissioner Kaler is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore,
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton,
Yes.
and Mayor Crowley.
And I vote yes, motion is approved. Tyler, thank you. Stick around, though. We'll move on to the next one, which is item 14.
Request for approval of ordinance terminating Transportation Development District sales tax in South 59 Transportation Development District.
The South 59 TDD was created by ordinance in '08 to pay a portion of the cost of certain infrastructure associated with the Loves project. Sufficient sales tax has been collected and is now necessary to terminate the sales tax. Tyler, you want to let us in on a little bit of that, please?
Sure, just as a little additional background. So the ordinance that was passed in 2008 levying the sales tax authorized expenditures and sales tax collections of $480,000 to pay the costs of certain transportation development district related expenses. The city has now collected in excess of that $480,000 amount. And so it's appropriate to consider an ordinance terminating that sales tax. We're working with staff to confirm how the surplus that's been collected is to be applied. But we can go ahead and terminate that sales tax now because we've confirmed that we've collected more than the $480,000 authorized amount. The sales tax will actually stay in place and not be terminated until October 1st of this year. That seems like a long way off, but that has to do with the timing that the Department of Revenue requires for when sales taxes can be started and stopped. So the ordinance you're being asked to consider this morning gives staff authorization and direction to work with the Department of Revenue to terminate that sales tax on October 1st or sooner if that's possible.
Thank you, Tyler. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Tyler? If not, how would you like to proceed?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I move that we approve item 14 on our agenda.
thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Whichever one you want. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to point out to the people listening in on this, I know this last two items, it seems like we rushed through them, but there's two reasons for that. One is we've been talking about this for about, last month and a half perhaps on some of these topics. Second reason is we're paying Tyler by the hour, so we want to rush this through. So I want everybody understands.
Thank you, Commissioner Skidmore. Any other discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler is absent, and Mayor Crowley.
And I vote yes. Motion is approved. Tyler, thank you for your time.
And turn off the clock. Thanks, Tyler.
That'll move us on to item 15, please.
Request for approval of final plat for Elderberry Edition.
This is a replat of lots 54 and 55 of the Cove subdivision that adjust the front setback lines and lot dimensions as established by the final plat. The Planning Commission has reviewed the request and recommends approval, and I believe Jennifer Reinhardt will be addressing this.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Commissioners. Jennifer Reinhardt, serving as District Planner. I do have a brief presentation. I will go ahead and share my screen now. And this item was seen before you at the previous study session. Okay, so the item before you today is to consider the proposed final plat or replat of two lots in the being called the Elderberry Edition that establish new setback lines and general lot dimensions of two existing residential lots in the Cove subdivision, and they are addressed as 1704 Elderberry Inn. This just establishes the general location as well as the current zoning and future land use. The proposed use on these lots is consistent with both the zoning, the existing zoning, and land use, so no amendments are necessary. This slide shows the existing final plat proposed at Tallgrass. The red box indicates the two lots that are proposed to be replatted this morning. And just a quick note that this is going through this process because the existing regulations do specify with replats, it follows the same procedure as a final plat. And so that's why this item went before the Planning Commission and is for you this morning. This slide shows the proposed replat that is in your packets, and briefly, the only amendment is changing the front building setback line. It was, or current, in the Cove subdivision, there is a building setback line of 55 feet and 60 feet. And so this, which is in excess of the 15-foot setback in the current zoning. And so this plot amends that front setback to 30 feet, which staff and the Planning Commission find to be in conformance with the regulations, and also they fit in well with the rest of the lots in the existing subdivision. So changing these two lots won't have any adverse effects in staff's opinion. And a quick note that the lot dimensions are also proposed to be changed slightly by changing the line in between the two lots. And while the corner lot does not currently meet the 70-foot corner lot requirement in the zoning regulations, it does fall within the 10% administrative variance. And staff did want to note that, of course, the existing corner lot is not 70 foot. So the recommendation is to approve this proposed final plat and this replat that was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission at their March 31st meeting. And again, staff's recommendation is for approval by the City Commission. And I am happy to answer any questions you may have about this proposed final plat.
Commissioners, any questions for Jennifer? If not, how would you like to proceed?
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve item 15 on our agenda.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, can I have a roll call vote, please?
How do you vote? Commissioner Taylor's absent. Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton?
Yes.
Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Mayor Crowley?
And I vote yes. Motion is approved. Jennifer, thank you for your help on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That will move us on to comments by our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. First thing I want to tell you is I hope everybody understands what a big deal the Water Environment Award is. People often don't think about the piping they don't see. They don't think much about the utilities they don't see underneath the ground. But what this award says is that our people are the very best at ensuring that the public has a quality utility and it addresses their needs when something happens. This award recognizes that they're out there in the middle of a rainstorm, they're out there in the middle of the night, they're out there on Christmas and Thanksgiving when the rest of us are home enjoying it with our families, taking care of this community. So this is a big award, and I'm pretty proud of everybody down there because this tells you the quality of employees we have. So we're continuing to work on the base grant to figure out how we do that. We've been spending time on it. We're going to be spending some more on that. You'll hear further information on that. This week has been kind of an interesting week because yesterday the mayor and a number of other people with the county and FCDC. We participated in 3 events yesterday that were economic development events starting early at the morning at the airport, and then there were 2 others. So, and I stopped off to see Paul Bean this morning, and he has a couple other projects that have been forwarded to us from the state. So they're coming in. We're getting the hits, so to speak. They're coming in, and the work's being done, and it will happen. And it's interesting to see what's happening as things come down I-35. And we'll start work on the 2000. Well, let me rephrase that. Department heads and their employees and Melanie have already been working on the 2023 budget for at least a month. You will start seeing budget presentations the first study session in May. And at that point, because we still don't know what the assessed valuation is, the department heads will be talking to you about the summary of their budget, about what the big items they're asking for, what the big changes are, so we can get you acclimated to that. And then we'll come back later after we know, because everything is really based upon that assessed valuation, where we know where that's at and what impact that has. That takes care of what I have to say, and I'm going to give our Director of Finance a chance to talk to you about an issue that's coming up Monday.
Thank you. I know this is a little bit out of the ordinary in how we would approach this, but because we have an upcoming deadline for our reporting for our American Rescue Plan Act funds, this is a decision point we would like to bring to you on Monday. We know you wouldn't normally make decisions at a study session, but we'll be looking to you to direct us on how we approach the reporting for April 30th. So as a quick reminder, I know we haven't had all of these discussions yet with our new commissioner on board, but our American Rescue Plan Act monies, which are also titled ARPA, we received or will be receiving a full amount of $1.87 million. And those funds, as we've already discussed, are going to be used to program for programming and projects that are going to benefit all of the populations across the community. But again, our first reporting deadline is April 30th. And one of the opportunities under the final rule is that you can select to claim those dollars as revenue replacement, whereas in the preliminary rule, it didn't give you that opportunity. It said you had to go back and do this really long calculation, and you had to determine exactly how much money was lost across all funds, lump it together. If it was a certain percentage above or below previous years, then you could determine that you lost revenue and it could be used as revenue replacement. In the final rule, they decided to go a little bit different route, and they said basically anybody can claim revenue replacement for all of the funds they receive under $10 million. Clearly, we're under that threshold. What it does is gives you the opportunity to select revenue replacement as your project under the federal reporting guidelines or the requirements under the federal reporting, or you can select it as each individual project that you intend to use the funds on. And you unfortunately don't get the choice at this point to say we want to use some in this manner and some in this manner. Instead, it's going to force us in the reporting module to say we're claiming it all as revenue replacement, or we're going to report all of it under the detailed federal reporting guidelines, which it does present a little bit more of a complicated procedure for bidding projects, for tracking and reporting all of those projects. Whereas if we select the revenue replacement approach, we can still program and use those funds in all of the manners we've already talked about. We've already presented to you. We'll continue to bring all of those projects back to you in that reporting manner. But when we go in to actually do the federal reporting, it's a lot simpler, basically. It'll be under one project, basically called City of Ottawa, revenue replacement under ARPA, and then we'll just report in total the monies that have been received and spent on an ongoing basis. So again, the opportunity there is to simplify the federal reporting. It does expand also our options for the use of those funds. So instead of being restricted to not being able to use those dollars for, say, streets or some other opportunities, you can use it for any governmental service that would be a normal use of funding. And so it gives us a little bit of opportunity there also. Again, we cannot change our selection after April 30th. We did talk to the Office of Recovery and also the League to try and verify that, in fact, that our understanding is correct, and they have both confirmed that, yes, that is their understanding as well. And so the idea today was to bring you a little bit of a precursor to our conversation on Monday, give you a little bit of an opportunity to digest and think about whether that might be the direction you'd want to go. We'll bring you a little bit more detailed presentation on Monday's study session, but we'll also be asking for you to make a consideration or decision so that we at least have a motion on the books stating what direction we'd like to go for the first reporting option. So our recommendation would be to consider it at Monday's study session, but that we would still continue with the planned programming and provide those regular updates to the commission. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. Also happy to just wait until Monday's study session and give you a little bit more detailed description of where we are, where we've, the discussions we've had, and what we're suggesting for you.
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Landis? The finance director and city manager briefed me a little bit about this yesterday, and to be quite frank, I was a little hesitant at first because it makes you wonder, what we're going to do with those funds. But after having a long discussion with them, we realized that we're going to use it on the same things. It's just going to open the door on what we can use these things for. Before, we weren't allowed to just appropriate some money, because of the paperwork, to some things that we may be doing, but now we can. We can benefit and kind of piecemeal some of that money into these projects that we're looking at. I thought it was a good idea, and Ms. Landis did, and so did the city manager, to bring that to our attention today, because I know how we like to generally mull over these for a couple weeks, go over the information, and see what's best for our community. So bringing it to our attention today gives us a few more days to get some questions out to Ms. Landis or the city manager ahead of Monday's study session. That way, if there are any things, any hiccups we're concerned about, that we can go through those, because I think it's an important thing that we move forward with making a decision Monday, because it's going to streamline things, not only for the city, but the projects that we're going to be doing. So
Yes.
I appreciate the information that you brought to us today.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? That'll move us on to comments by our city commissioners. Commissioner Graves,
I have no comment.
Commissioner Clayton,
No comment.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore.
I just want to echo Richard's comments about our sewer system. And you're right, we don't see it like we see our parks and other buildings in town. It's just, we don't see it, but we certainly need it. I've been to foreign countries where they have open sewers, and I assume it's open only because it's easier to maintain, but there's a cost to that environmentally. It's kind of hard to have an appetite to sit down in an outdoor restaurant next to an open sewer, and I learned that very, very quickly. So we do really appreciate our people at City Hall and that fact that we do have buried sewers. It's something I never was thankful for until I saw where they're not buried. And also the fact that when they treat the water, and I remember taking this tour, and Commissioner Clayton, if you haven't been around taking tours, I recommend that strongly with what we have in our city. But the fact that the water exits from the sewer treatment plant cleaner than when it came in on the west end of town. And I think that's a testament to our people, and I think it's a good job they're doing. It's sometimes a thankless job, but we really do appreciate them, so I just want to pass that on. And also, I was hoping the meeting would go a little bit longer. We've got bank examiners. I'm not anxious to go back, but if we have to adjourn, we have to adjourn, I guess, so.
We can always discuss what you would like.
Oh.
Thank you. That moves us on to comments by the mayor, and I too want to echo what the city manager and Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore said. There's a lot of unsung heroes in our departments that people just turn the faucets on, the lights on, and it's they don't appreciate the hard work that's put in until it doesn't work. Yeah. And we certainly try to congratulate and appreciate what those departments do for us anytime and every time that we can. So thank you again for what they do and all of our departments do. So appreciate it. That moves us on to our announcements. Our joint meeting today has been canceled. We have a study session the 25th at 4 p.m. here. May 2nd, we have a study session at 4 p.m. here at City Hall. And then May 4th, we have a regular meeting at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Is there anything else?
So just, I'd like to, on behalf of all of us, welcome County Commissioner Ann Dickinson to our meeting. It's been a while. We were in a meeting together, and I said, Ann, you haven't been at our meetings in the person, so we look forward to you when you do come.
I too would like to welcome Ian. You want to come up and say anything? I mean, come on. You're used to being in front of the mic. All right. Anything else?